There was no one out there that is as cool as James Dean was. I doubt if anybody is going to be that cool.
Hollywood's dearly departed become fashion models for the 90s.
The talented young kids under the big top are all working for the weekend.
What I like about the circus is the day off. A whole day off.
A primetime hunk buries the hatchet over his character's hygiene habits.
He doesn't bathe quite as much as me.
And a British band tips its hat to Elvis, reggae style.
There's reggae, man. You feel the vibe. It's from the heart.
Entertainment Tonight blows the lid off for this August weekend, 1993.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Entertainment Tonight. I'm Bob Goen.
I'm Lisa Gibbons. Thanks for being with us. Well, in the high-stakes world of advertising, the name of the game is getting noticed. If people see your ad, then maybe they buy the product. One tried-and-true method of getting noticed is to call on a little Hollywood star power, even if the stars shone brightly decades ago. Notice anything similar about these photos of Marilyn, James Dean, Bogey, and Hemingway? They're all wearing khakis, and they're all part of a new national marketing campaign by The Gap.
These are going to last you for a long time because you can dress them up and you can dress them down.
For weeks, the clothing chain has been running teasers asking who wears khakis. Their answer, more than a dozen legends of the past. And Richard Chrisman of Gap Advertising says these images will catch people's eyes.
People love these legends, and these photographs are very friendly. They're doing everyday things. They're not outtakes of them in movies. They're being themselves.
These prints came in all different colors and shapes and sizes, but we got...
Finding these vintage photos wasn't easy. Some have never been seen before. Veteran Hollywood photographer Phil Stern is one of the people they called, and he dug up this photo of Sammy Davis Jr. he shot in 1949 dancing on a rooftop.
He did this for, it seemed like hours. And I would say, look, rest a little. He says, no, this is fun.
How do they feel?
They felt really good.
Customers who cruise into the Gap to try on a pair of khakis may be hoping some of the cachet of these legends will rub off on them. So says Larry Collins, editor-at-large of Media Week magazine.
There is no one out there that is as cool as James Dean was. I doubt if anybody is going to be that cool.
Using legends of the past may also be cheaper and safer, says licensing agent Roger Richmond, who represents the estate of Marilyn Monroe, among others.
We charge a fee that's less than a living artist would charge. And most importantly, no untoward event can happen in the lives of any of our artists that may embarrass the advertiser.
Hi, how are you today?
Pretty good.
The Gap is banking on these images, putting customers in the mood to buy.
We're really excited, and I think they're very hip and a lot of fun.
The Gap's celebrity campaign kicks into gear in stores and magazines this week. The Gap declined to discuss how much money they spent to license those celebrity names in the campaign.
While the Gap tries to make a splash in the ad world, the legacy of one of the world's great salesmen and showmen lives on. P.T. Barnum figured out long ago that everybody loves a good circus. And now the traveling show, which shares Barnum's name, is bringing new life to an old tradition with lots of fresh young faces.
The greatest show on earth!
America's oldest circus is now featuring many of the world's most amazing young performers. Where else can you see a daughter twirl and a son be tossed on their father's feet? Or find boys twisting in and out of 14-inch rings? These are the circus's Children of the Rainbow, and they love life under the big top.
Never came back till the 4th of July, you lied.
But performing in the circus is not just a job, it's a way of life. Backstage before showtime is a beehive of activity. Nervous energy translates into a good time. Yulia Kulisova has plenty to be excited about. She flips and flies from just the palm of her partner's hand. But this 11-year-old from Siberia has been tumbling since she was 2 and feels right at home in the ring. The circus also looks closer to home for talented young American gymnasts and found them in one of Chicago's toughest neighborhoods. This is a group that calls itself the Chicago Kids, and they bring the hip-hop beat of the street to the circus.
Cookie Man, guess who in our ring?
Alan Grant is just 14, and he says the circus is a much safer home for him.
Like a big family, because like an outsider can't come in and do nothing to you or not. There's always somebody around to protect you or something.
All the kids find the time for fun and games when they're not in the ring.
See, we love each other. Sebastian, get over here.
Alexander Stevens is just 6, and he rides the miniature ponies with his younger brother Sebastian. Alexander says he likes to get a break from the circus's daily routine.
What I like about the circus is the day off. A whole day off. That's what I like. Okay, I'm done with that.
But the kids don't get a lot of time off. Between performances, they squeeze in 3 hours of school every weekday. Getty Kehayova grew up in a circus in her native Bulgaria, and at 15 is used to this chaotic lifestyle.
I can't think of it like living in one place. I can never do that, you know? I like traveling a lot.
Well, welcome.
Producer Kenneth Feld came up with the idea for the Children of the Rainbow to help celebrate the 200th anniversary of the circus in America. We caught up with him last December as he was welcoming the young stars to their new home.
The circus has always been a big family. This year is different because we have all these children from all over the world. So they have more fathers and mothers than anybody on the face of the earth.
The many talented children aren't the only youngsters who are working at the circus. Within the past year, 2 baby elephants, Romeo and Juliet, were born into the Ringling Brothers Barnum and Bailey family.
So, how's the world treating America's hottest exports, our pop superstars? Here's the lowdown. That material girl Madonna is planning a world tour which she's calling the Girly Show. It kicks off next month in London. But the lowdown is that Australia can't wait for Madonna. Tickets for her show there, planned for later in the year, sold out in just 80 minutes. That's the fastest ever. As a result, Madonna's planning another show down under.
But another of our superstars has hardly been getting the royal treatment abroad. When Michael Jackson asked to get a private visit to the Singapore Zoo during his upcoming concert tour in the Orient, the lowdown is that Singapore officials reportedly said no. They told Michael he'd need to get in line like everybody else.
Meanwhile, back home, a few superstar castings to tell you about. The lowdown is that Tom Cruise, star of this summer's hit The Firm, has reportedly agreed to take a role in a movie version of the TV classic Mission Impossible. And actor-director Danny DeVito is going to the dogs. He'll take on the voice of a mutt in the next installment of the Look Who's Talking series, starring John Travolta and Kirstie Alley.
And when she said that the sun will come out tomorrow, the world listened. Now that little orphan named Annie is back in the sequel to the original tale, a musical, magical, off-Broadway stage production.
That you gotta keep believing.
Catch the newest chapter in the theatrical life of Annie Warbucks, coming up later on in our show. Chess is a game built not on brawn, but on brain power. It intimidates many, but one man, Bobby Fischer, became its master, and in the process, a hero to all who love the game. Well, the new film, based on a true story, delves into the life of one young prodigy who may inherit the title World's Best.
For only $9.99.
Searching for Bobby Fischer.
Your move, Josh.
Did you move that pawn?
I moved a pawn, yeah.
Yeah, that's in front of my king.
Searching for Bobby Fischer is the story of a young chess protege, played by newcomer Max Pomerantz, and the father who encourages his talent. The dad is played by Joe Mantegna.
He's better at this than I have ever been at anything in my life.
Although young Max had never acted before, he was a champion chess player and was discovered during a national talent search.
They found me at a chess tournament. They called my mom at work and they gave her some scenes. They faxed her some scenes. All the scenes I read never came out in the movie.
Max had to audition over 10 times before he got the part, and no one was more impressed with his talent than co-star Mantegna.
It's just a matter of him taking to this world, the world of acting, as much as he took to the world of chess or the world of all his other interests, baseball, whatever it is.
It says Master Chess Certificate, awarded to, and there's a blank here for a name.
Ben Kingsley, who plays a chess master and takes the young boy under his wing, was also impressed with Max's abilities.
The danger is with children when you're working with them, the best bits are in the lunch break, you know, and they're not on film. But with him, all the best bits were actually on camera.
Play like you used to, from the gut.
Lawrence Fishburne plays a park speed chess player who also encourages young Max. Most of his scenes were shot in New York City's Washington Square, a park actually frequented by these lightning-fast players.
What's been great is that they have welcomed us here, and they have been very cooperative, and a lot of guys have asked me to play them. A lot of people have asked me to play them, and I've obliged them, and the great thing for me is that I'm learning.
Although the film centers around the unique chess-playing aptitude of a young boy, Mantegna says that the theme of the film is much more broad than that.
It's about people. It's a good story. In other words, it didn't have to be about chess. I mean, it's called Searching for Bobby Fischer. It could have been searching for Willie Mays or searching for anything else.
Looking forward to that one. Now, while he may be a champion player, young Max Pomerantz's life is not all chess and no play. He also enjoys sports, including soccer and Little League Baseball.
The Fugitive outran all other movies at the box office this week, but how did moviegoers coming out of the theater react to the remake of the popular 60s series? Here's this weekend's exclusive Movie Track poll. The Fugitive escaped with a bang, and audiences loved the non-stop thriller from beginning to heart-stopping end.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, listen up. We have a fugitive that's been on the run for 90 minutes.
In fact, it is the highest-rated film of the entire summer in fan approval and among the top 3 of the past year. Most of the fans we spoke to said they would even pay to see it again.
Put that gun down! Turn around!
Harrison Ford earned kudos as Dr. Richard Kimball, wrongly accused of murder and running for his life. Judging from the reaction of fans in this poll, he may be running on screen for a long time to come.
I'm not trying to solve a puzzle here.
Well, I am trying to solve a puzzle. And I just found a big piece.
Since virtually all reaction to The Fugitive was positive, comments from filmgoers ran the gamut from awesome to a masterpiece of epic proportions.
The year is 2007. There is a battle raging between the forces of good and evil, and at the center is a struggle for a medallion with magical powers. Now, this is the premise of a video game called Double Dragon, which has earned more than $350 million in sales. Now, with an impressive figure like that, what's the next logical step? Well, make it into a movie, of course.
Camera's rolling.
Double Dragon, the movie, is set in a futuristic city where the forces of evil threaten to take control. Two brothers who happen to be martial arts experts use their talents to battle the bad guys.
Go try this at home.
In order to play these two heroes, the actors have to be adept at martial arts. This poses no problem for Mark Dacascos. He is an expert who already has a starring role in Only the Strong, a martial arts film due out this month. Mark comes by his skills naturally.
My mother and father are both kung fu teachers, so it's kind of in my blood, I think. My dad says I was kicking people's shins at the age of 4 years old, so.
Mark's co-star and on-screen brother, Scott Wolf, finds the going a bit tougher.
I had very little martial arts experience, so as soon as I got the film, I went into training. We only had about a week and a half to work, but we'd work sometimes twice a day, and I worked on my own. I wanted to do as much of my own fighting as they would let me do.
A big part of the storyline has to do with a medallion with special powers and keeping it out of the hands of evil forces.
The infamous medallion, with the light shimmering off of the ruby.
But the producers may want to keep it out of Scott's hands, or he may keep it himself.
I want to. It might turn up missing.
For a crucial chase scene, it was necessary to find a city willing to blow up its own river. Makers of the movie found that in Cleveland. But how do you prepare? Very carefully, according to the special effects coordinator.
It took 15 guys 2 weeks to do. Thousands and thousands of gallons of propane. We have 12,000 gallons of propane on the beach.
9 cameras were focused at different angles because there are no retakes for an explosion on this scale. It went off without a hitch, except for one little thing. Some Cleveland citizens weren't aware the explosion was done in the name of fun. The film's producer says it definitely had an impact, and the calls to 911 came fast and furious.
I think that there was like about a 15-minute period of civil panic in the city when no one knew if it was a rocket attack or a refinery fire, and that's what it'll read like in the movie.
Double Dragon, the movie, is still in production and will be blasting its way into theaters next year.
Mel Gibson has been starring in films for nearly 15 years, and fans have come to love his humor, his screen presence, and his face. Now, for the first time, Mel has taken a role in which he plays the man without a face, this weekend's exclusive movie preview.
Is it this? Is this what you see? But if that's all you see, well then, you don't see me.
Mel Gibson plays a school teacher whose career is cut short after a tragic accident makes him the object of rumor and scorn. His life of solitude transforms when 12-year-old Chuck Nordstadt needs his help.
This may sound crazy, but if you're still in the business, I could really use some help on an exam.
Why does that sound crazy?
I don't know. It's just that I've never thought of you as a teacher.
Chuck is also an outsider, but to his own family. Chuck has failed a boarding school entrance exam, and Gibson agrees to tutor him, but under Gibson's terms.
Why did you come here? Quickly, don't think, just answer. Why?
For some help, you know.
No, I don't know. Do you want help or not?
Yeah, I guess so, if you're really a teacher.
Yeah, I guess so, sir.
Yes, I guess so, sir.
Though their relationship begins as a clashing of wills, it grows into a cherished friendship.
Did you ever wonder why men and women are attracted to each other?
It's called sex, Nordstadt. And it's not on your exam.
Different role for Mel Gibson.
It is. Now, I know you're a huge Mel fan.
Oh,
You'll see
I'm
anything.
there.
Yeah.
I am there.
Even with the face going there?
Of course.
And there's no big
of
difference.
Course.
Okay.
Plus, looks like an intriguing story, doesn't it?
Yeah. When's it coming out?
It's called The Man Without a Face. It's going to be out August 25th.
Now, from the man without a face to a man whose face is seen night and day, but you'll hear no complaints from the audience.
It's great sport. It beats darts.
Find out why Dr. Quinn hunk Joe Lando has taken a day job when we return.
On our show this week, we have a couple of guys who aren't satisfied with just one hit series. Each is working overtime on second gigs. Joe Lando sends Hearts Aflutter as the big hunk on the prairie in the primetime hit Dr. Quinn Medicine Woman. Now hearts are pumping overtime because Joe's got himself a day job for the summer.
It's great sport. It beats darts.
Joe Lando plays the hatchet-throwing hunk Byron Sully on Dr. Quinn Medicine Woman, and his oneness with the woods has made him a Wild West sex symbol with adoring fans. But in real life, Joe says things are a little bit different.
There are a lot of similarities in the fact that I love the outdoors and I spend a lot of time there, but he doesn't bathe quite as much as me. This guy is like once, twice a month. That's the most for him.
Why didn't you come to me? Why didn't you talk to me?
Lando is coming clean this summer, though. He's in New York City, where he's begun a 6-week stint on the soap opera Guiding Light. And when he's not on the set, he's on the street checking out his old stomping grounds.
Changed a little bit. It was a lot cleaner than I remember. Come here a second. Let's go in here. It's Jimbo. Jim the man. This man took care of me when I lived here. How you doing? Well, I call him Tattoo Tony. I actually met him one day before I started working on Guiding Light, and he works on Guiding Light a lot. He works as one of the police officers. It's fun to just kind of go back in time and try to be a normal person as much as you can be.
And while Joe is having a good time catching up, it's hard work only on Guiding Light. CBS, which airs the soap and Dr. Quinn, is hoping that Joe's faithful following will tune in to both shows. But with the pressure on to impress, Joe's taking it cool and taking all the adulation in stride.
I would love the job if I was considered a hunk or a character actor or this or that. I always wanted to be an actor, and that's what I'm in it for. And anything else is gravy.
Joe's stint on Guiding Light, by the way, lasts another 3 weeks, but his fans can rest easier knowing that he is set for the entire season of Dr. Quinn Medicine Woman. That series will have its fall premiere Saturday, September 25th.
Another actor working overtime is William R. Moses. Now, last season he played the much-married fraction of a love triangle on Melrose Place, and he'll be back on that show. William also has a second job fighting crime with a TV favorite, but as busy as he is, work is not a top priority.
Hey, Allison.
William R. Moses is a snake on Melrose Place, slipping a Mickey to Courtney Thorne Smith or just plain stalking her. Playing a bad guy is new for Moses, and he gets a kick out of his stint on the trendy show.
A younger audience is seeing me in a light that really no one's ever seen me in, which is kind of exciting for me.
While he's a baddie on the screen, at home he's a softie for his wife, Tracy Nelson, and their 1-year-old daughter, Remington.
Look at Mom. Hey.
Having two actors in the family is tough, but William and Tracy try to be normal with a passel of dogs and Tracy's pet birds.
I raised these guys when I was pregnant. I raised them from eggs, little tiny eggs, and hatched them, and I didn't hatch them, but put them on the heating pad, fed them with eyedroppers.
For his part, William is feeding his career with another recurring role as Perry Mason's trusty investigator.
There's nothing in here that wasn't in the police report.
Recently, they had a rare opportunity to work together when Tracy guest starred as a feisty reporter who helps Perry Mason's case.
Well, I thought maybe we could have lunch.
Are you kidding?
William and Tracy admit that parenthood brings new priorities.
When you have that baby in your arms and you think, if it's a choice between going away on location for 6 months or being here with this baby, I guess that means I'm going to be home with the baby.
There hasn't been one moment that I just haven't loved being a father. And from her very first minute on the planet up till now, it's just been it's been a joy.
For now, Remington is too young to realize that her dad is a heartthrob on a TV series, but William sure found out at a recent baseball game.
The amount of young people that came up to me at this game, I've never experienced anything like that. There must have been 50 or 60 people just sitting in the stands who just came up asking for autographs, and all under 20, which to me was very, very unusual.
Moses has yet another project in the works. He's set to co-star in a film called Trial by Jury with William Hurt.
The networks are saddling up in a big way with Westerns, and CBS is unveiling a new series with a 2-hour movie. Ned Blessing, the story of my life and times, corrals the top spot in this weekend's coming attractions.
I'm going to ask you one more time. How do you intend to settle your debt, mule shooter?
This summer series revolves around the sheriff of Plum Creek, played by Brad Johnson. He's got his hands full, what with surly saloon keepers, eccentric sidekicks, and plenty of action. As of now, the series is only airing 6 hours in all.
Whether we make 6 or whether we make 600, it doesn't matter, because it's been a lot of fun. And whether it's successful or not, it isn't because we weren't trying.
Ned Blessing premieres Wednesday on CBS.
Spanish archer Antonio Rebollo will ignite the cauldron that will burn throughout the games.
A documentary on the Barcelona Olympics is airing on cable. All the big events of the Summer Games have been included, and not just the medal winners, but the human drama as well. For filmmaker Bud Greenspan, here with executive producer Nancy Beffa, part of the thrill comes from the unpredictability of the athletes.
I think it's the quest for immortality that these young people have, that on any day, on a given time, in a given place, something magical will happen.
Barcelona 92, 16 Days of Glory, airs Sunday on the Disney Channel. Nearly 200 rare photographs of Elvis Presley, from shots with a young Johnny Cash to a young Barbara Eden, are collected in a new book, Elvis and the Stars. The King died 16 years ago next week, and author Jim Curtin is both an Elvis impersonator and the owner of 25,000 Elvis photos.
Not many celebrities took photographs with Elvis Presley. Although he met probably thousands of celebrities, only several hundred exist in photographic form.
Elvis and the Stars is in bookstores now. And those who enjoy his strangely quirky tales on the stand-up comedy stage probably don't realize that at one time, behind bars and paying the price for a life of crime, Ron Schock was lucky to be able to stand up at all.
The police are beating me with clubs, breaking my jaw and nose and ribs and the fingers in one hand.
Travel the long road from crime to comedy with Ron Schock. That's up next. And welcome back to Entertainment Tonight. I'm Lisa Gibbons.
And I'm Bob Goen. Well, comedian Ron Schock brings a lot to his stand-up routines. A tragic early life filled with trouble, then turning the corner to success. Now he's trying to help others make the same difficult journey.
5 years ago, I was playing a military base in northern Michigan. I was in an NCO club, and the marquee said, "Chicken dinner and Ron Schock, $5." I got second billing to a chicken.
Ron Schock has come a long way since. He's been called one of the hottest new comics around and will soon be seen in his first primetime special. But Ron Schock's rise to success is anything but run-of-the-mill.
I did have some delinquent years. I did paths, and I was a one-man crime wife for several years.
What many people who sit in his audience don't know is that Schock spent much of his adult life in prison on burglary and car theft charges. These days, he tries to counsel kids in trouble, like these runaway teens seeking shelter at Hollywood's Covenant House.
I'm 50. That was when I was 20. The marks are still there.
Schock still bears the scars of a suicide attempt, but says it's the beating that he lived through in prison that made him see he needed to leave his life of crime.
You aren't going to use this, but yeah, of course, when I was laying bleeding to death in a cell in isolation, and the police are beating me with clubs and breaking my jaw and nose and ribs and the fingers in one hand. So yeah, I can kind of pinpoint it to that particular time that I decided that was about as low as I would care to get.
After he was released, Schock held a number of jobs before turning to comedy. Everything from concert promoting to boxing to international businessmen. He says there was only one job that he was really ashamed of.
I sold insurance once.
Schock's form of comedy is unconventional. He considers himself more of a storyteller. In fact, most of his stories are based on real-life experiences.
My jokes aren't jokes. They're true things that I make rather lengthy comments on.
Sometimes the best real-life experiences are in newspapers.
True stories all. United States Air Force fighter jet falls out of the sky and crashes into a Ramada Inn in Indianapolis, kills 9 people in the Ramada Inn. Houston Chronicle, front page, says most of the guests of the Ramada Inn were caught by surprise.
Ron's success has also taken a lot of people by surprise, especially those who can say they knew him when.
That I'm alive and free. Not that I'm just, in success and things are starting to happen for me. That's great. I'm alive and free is against everybody's expectations.
I'm Ron Schock. I'm glad to be here.
Ron Schock's comedy special begins airing on Showtime next weekend.
Compared to Ron Schock's early life, Vanessa Shaw is going about things in the right way. She's a model, she's begun an acting career, and most of all, she's tasted success and she's not about to let it get away. She's a hot young model turned actress, taking the movie world by storm. Natural, funny, and beautiful in front of the camera, it looks like this rising star has what it takes.
You're going. You're going again.
Sugar, I promise. After the new year, we'll take a vacation.
Where were you last night?
In the Showtime anthology series Fallen Angels, she's the lonely daughter of Cop Joe Mantegna. In Hocus Pocus, she's one of the kids out to stop the evil witches, led by Bette Midler. And in between films, she's a model for magazines.
Okay, sir, move out, please.
17-year-old Vanessa Shaw is much in demand, but she makes sure she has time for family and fitness. She works out in her mom's aerobics class, teasing younger sister Natalie, who gets her revenge a bit later. Vanessa's very close to her family. Her actress mom, Susan, is the reason she got into show business in the first place.
I would always go on interviews with her and like sneak into her commercials somehow, and or get commercials because of her.
Yeah. Today you have the callback for the Kashmir. Shoots in India.
Oh, yeah.
Bikini.
Mom's also Vanessa's manager, which was a little tough in the beginning.
It was kind of hard to differentiate mom and the manager, but when she does her manager part, she's the manager, and I respect everything that her advice at all times, and it's really helpful because she's like my partner.
Vanessa says her family keeps her grounded. Her priority right now is not mega stardom, but which college to attend. At the moment, she's thinking of taking time off to get a degree and then come back to acting in a big way.
I change my mind every like month, it seems like, of what I really want to do in life, and just from doctor to a psychologist to, and then I say, no, I really want to be an actress. But for right now, I'm happy being an actress.
Tough choices. She's got a good support system, though.
Oh, yeah, keeping it all in the family, that helps.
She said her idol, I think, is Jodie Foster. So
really? Mine too.
Yours?
Yeah.
Well, you just never knew you had so much in common with her,
Wow,
did you?
I'm going to have to give her a call.
That photo shoot that we saw her shooting in the
Right.
story, it's for a magazine called Young Miss. That's going to be featured in the November issue. And the episode of Fallen Angels we talked about will debut on Showtime August 29.
Okay, well, stay with us. In the interest of equal time, we have a country hunk for you coming up with a real acting stretch on his hands. Randy Travis gets to play Randy Travis. That's up next.
With his country stardom firmly established, Randy Travis is going about living out his dreams. One was to star in a Western, which he does, in the movie within a movie for his new television special. In the hour-long special, Randy Travis rides and shoots and gets to be a real singing cowboy.
He does a cowboy boogie, the cowboy, the cowboy boogie.
If Randy looks at home, it's because he's wanted to be an on-screen cowpoke since he was a boy in North Carolina.
As a kid, I grew up watching those Westerns, and I guess I was about a teenager before I knew there was anything to watch but a Western.
Wind in the Wire is two stories in one. One part shows Randy making a Western, and then behind the scenes, he befriends young Nick Banco as a troubled orphan who's discovered hiding on the set.
You better leave well enough alone. Bobby, I'll take care of it.
This storyline hits close to home because Randy's own teen years were marked by tangles with authorities and drug and alcohol problems.
You know, a grown-up can't handle alcohol and drugs every day, much less a kid, and maybe running with the wrong crowd some. Of course, you can't blame it all on any one thing. It's just a lot of things that I was doing wrong.
That lie that I tried to slip by you was told with good intention.
While Randy remains one of country's best sellers, he admits the acting bug has bitten him hard. In addition to the special, he's appeared on a sitcom and with Andy Griffith on Matlock.
So he lied. He must be the one who killed Judy. Yeah. It is fun to do and challenging. You know, it's something different for me. On stage is a little bit like acting, I guess, every night. But at the same time, you're being yourself on stage. This, I mean, it makes you mentally work a lot more.
Bert, do you call this a fight? Come on, let's do it with a little more energy.
For this special, Randy's surrounded by some acting veterans. Burt Reynolds makes a cameo appearance.
Best thing to do in this business is just don't let anybody catch you acting. Act natural.
Lou Diamond Phillips appears as himself, and Chuck Norris rides in for a fight scene. Mixing it up with Norris was a high point for Randy. A few years ago, Norris started tutoring him in the martial arts.
Tell you the truth, I've never hurt in so many places in my life. And to watch him is like watching a ballet dancer. He's that graceful.
That special was made on location in New Mexico, Colorado, South Dakota, and on the island of Maui, where Randy and his wife have a getaway home. Wind in the Wire will air Wednesday, August 25th on ABC, and the soundtrack from the special is in stores this week.
While Elvis fans all over the world are remembering the King on the anniversary of his death this weekend, the English band UB40 is offering Elvis a toast of thanks. One of his classic songs has given the band a #1 hit for the 90s.
They're reggae, man. You feel the vibe. It's from the heart. You can feel the music. It just gets you in the mood. Gets you in the mood to jam.
What these fans are raving about is the jammin' sound of the hot reggae group UB40. The British band's version of the Elvis Presley classic Can't Help Falling in Love is a huge hit. The song is from the film Sliver, and while the movie didn't fare well at the box office, the tune has been #1 on the pop singles chart for 4 weeks. The group is touring the U.S. in support of their new album.
Hi, E.T. Are you here? How you doing?
These guys have a great time on the road, and their music is warmly greeted by fans wherever they go. But that wasn't always the case, say bandmates Brian Travers and Ollie Campbell.
When we first came to America, they used to go, "Hey, we love your style of rock and roll." You know?
Yeah.
And,
what kind of Cajun music is that?
Is that Cajun?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But that's only like
Campbell.
That's only like I dub do. Yeah. That's only like 10 years ago, right? About 10 years ago, you know, people in America, you know, on the whole, didn't know what reggae was.
What a difference a decade makes. There's no mistaking that Cajun rock and roll these days. Reggae has translated into a 30-city tour for UB40, which means night after night of sound checks. Life on the road may be grueling, but it's not all work and no play. Band members Buttons and Earl Falconer make sure to set aside some quality time for exercise.
Well, that's our exercise period, really.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Because we're in the bus all day, travelling, so got to get some good exercise in at some point.
Yeah, because I got to get rid of that.
After that daily dose of exercise, it's back on the bus until the next stop on the band's successful tour.
It's our ticket to escape where we come from and to do all the things that we dreamt of doing. Like go on tour for 2 years at a time, to live on a tour bus, to grow sideboards. It's all happening now. Thanks, E.T.
These guys are hot.
They are definitely on a roll.
Hollywood has been calling. Can't Help Falling in Love did wind up in the Sliver soundtrack, but UB40 told us they were first approached to do the song for the movie Honeymoon in Vegas, but they were bumped in favor of Bono of U2.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Can a new young voice bring that old Annie magic back to the New York stage? That story is next.
Celebrating a birthday on Saturday, August 14th, basketball great Earvin Magic Johnson is 34. Actress Susan St. James turns 47. Actor Steve Martin is 48. Singer David Crosby turns 52. And singer Buddy Greco is 67.
And celebrating a birthday on Sunday the 15th, actress Tess Harper is 43. Actress Abby Dalton turns 58. Manic star Mike Connors is 68. Actress Rose Marie also turns 68. And TV chef Julia Child is cooking at 81.
America's favorite little orphan is back on the New York stage in Annie Warbucks, the long-awaited sequel to the 1970s mega hit. And once again, a tiny redhead with a big voice has the stars and the city buzzing. The big opening night of Annie Warbucks drew anxious celebrities like Lynn Redgrave and Tony Randall, and a sold-out crowd all waiting to see if the new show would be a hit.
Don't lose the chance to keep this country great.
The new show is a sequel to the Broadway smash Annie, which closed a decade ago. In between, a sequel attempt called Annie 2 toured the country, but it soon closed and was retooled into Annie Warbucks.
Go to group one, go to group one, go to group one.
The biggest challenge for the producers was to find a little girl to take on the monumental role of Annie.
This is Annie.
9-year-old Catherine Zaremba of Broken Arrow, Oklahoma, won the role and a ticket to New York, and says that when she found out, she couldn't believe it.
I screamed and I felt like fainting and I fell on the floor. It's a hard knock life for us.
But once the role of Annie was cast, an open call was put out for a lovable dog to play her sidekick, Sandy. But some of these pooches just didn't have what it takes to be a star.
Tonka, come here.
The lucky and talented dog chosen to play the male Sandy is a female named Cindy Lou. And Catherine says their rehearsals for the show required some personal time together.
She'll come over for sleepovers for our bonding time. She sleeps in the same bed and we sleep together.
Changes, that's what life's about.
Reprising his role from the original production of Annie is Harve Presnell as the billionaire Daddy Warbucks, who adopts the little redhead. He says this new show is smaller and more intimate and relies on the powerful voices of the cast.
We're using natural sound here, which is unique today. We don't have body mics. You're not inundated with the sound. It's not a phony sound. It's a real sound. So that is a blessing, I think, and people are going to love discovering again what real sound is in theater, live theater.
I said my prayers and I would go to sleep believing.
And on opening night, with her charm and big voice, Catherine won over the hearts of the audience. Right now, Annie Warbucks is at New York's Variety Arts Theater off Broadway. The producers are hoping for strong word of mouth and strong ticket sales because they'd really like to move Annie uptown to a bigger Broadway theater.
When a cop does a good deed for a gangster, something has to get tangled up. The cop's reward is beautiful trouble in a movie that's just arrived at your neighborhood video store.
Look, you saved his life. He wants me to be your friend for a week.
In Mad Dog and Glory, Uma Thurman is a thank you present for Robert De Niro after he saves mobster and budding comic Bill Murray's life. Things are awkward at first, but soon they fall in love, which causes some problems when Murray wants her back.
Bring it down, Wayne. I love her. I own her!
Ethan Frome stars Liam Neeson as a man whose marriage with his hypochondriac wife begins to fail. When he falls in love with their housemaid, he brings shame to his home, but passion like he's never felt before.
If I miss my train, where will I go?
Where are you going if you catch it?
And the ABC miniseries Wild Palms is out on video. Starring James Belushi, it's a weird tale of virtual reality. With an imaginary rhino and a hallucinatory sitcom weaved into the story, it's hard to tell the dreams from reality.
What's happening to me?
Pretty intense.
Yeah, it's a high weird trip.
High weird trip.
Also out on video this week, a look inside the mind and the music of a most provocative jazz man. It's called The World According to John Coltrane.
Now, earlier in our show, we gave you a sneak peek at Mel Gibson's new movie, The Man Without a Face, but there is more to the story, and Mary Hart's got it. Mary?
Thanks, Bob. When Mel Gibson decides to try something different in his career, he goes all the way. In Man Without a Face, not only does he leave his handsome hunk image behind by playing a severely disfigured accident victim, he also takes on directing duties for this story of compassion and tolerance.
Forget about what the face is. Forget about whether it's Jewish or German or black or white or creed or anything. I think that's kind of what the story is about.
Join us for Mel Gibson, the man behind Man Without a Face, Monday on Entertainment Tonight.
Well, everybody knows that dogs are supposed to be man's best friend, right?
Everybody knows that, Bob.
Everybody.
But actress Ali Sheedy maybe didn't hear that because she's finding out in her new movie that with friends like that, who needs enemies?
Okay, ready.
Actress Ali Sheedy finds herself bruised and bloodied in her new movie, A Dog's Tale Gone Awry, titled Man's Best Friend. But the real star of the film works on 4 feet. He's Max, a mutt on a mission to protect Sheedy. And Ali's working hard to learn from her co-star.
I don't think I really understand dogs. I mean, they're really complicated.
And when an old dog can't learn new tricks, there's a Hollywood solution. Give the work to a puppet.
Back lost a tooth. Hey.
The fur's gonna fly for Ali Sheedy and her 4-legged co-stars, Man's Best Friend, next weekend on Entertainment Tonight.
Any movie plans?
For the weekend,
this weekend? Yeah.
well, Secret Garden, which opened up this weekend, I've not seen.
You're taking the kids, right?
It's a definite kid movie. I remember it from my girlhood. And I still haven't seen Fugitive, which you say is a must.
Telling you, see The Fugitive.
I'm gonna, okay.
I'll call you early and tell you to go.
All right, we're out of here, though.
Right?
That's it for the weekend.
Yeah, we're going to leave you with more from those British reggae guys, UB40. This is their #1 single, the remake of the Elvis classic, Can't Help Falling in Love. Have a great week, everybody.
Thanks for watching.
Falling in love with you. Shall I stay? Would it be the same? I can't make falling in love with you. As a river flows gently to the sea, darling, so we go. Some things were meant to be. Take my hand, take my